All right, here we go. Hi, everyone. My name is Denise. I'm a freedom activist in the state of California, San Joaquin County, and I am one of the founders of Freedom Angels.
Hi guys, my name is Heidi. I am a co-founder of Freedom Angels and I live in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Hi, I'm Tara, co-founder of Freedom Angels in the Northern Sierra Nevada mountains of California.
So every day we come to you live at 5 discussing freedom and liberty in the state of California and across the nation. And today we're going to be touching on a few subjects, but I ask you to please start a watch party and share this video due to censorship, but magically we can come from our page, so that's good. So we're going to start off with an address regarding what CHP and Governor Newsom has put out as a public statement. It's kind of wild. They're acting like we promised we would stay in the car, and we promised that we were not going to do this whole social distancing thing. And we have already publicly posted what our permit looked like. And you can clearly see that we were there to have boots on the ground and a convoy. So Governor Newsom and CHP, it looks like someone's trying to throw the buck at each other.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, like we've been saying, you don't apply for a permit for a convoy. You apply for a permit to be on the Capitol grounds. And, you know, that is what the permits are for. They are not for the sidewalks or the streets of Sacramento. That's why we worked with Sacramento PD on traffic control for the streets and the sidewalks. That's who we worked with for that. And the permits for CHP Capitol are for the Capitol grounds. And there's no mistaking that. I do not know why they are presenting a completely different story. That doesn't even make sense. It's not even legally how it works at all.
It doesn't fit the narrative, you know? I mean, somebody broke the executive orders and nobody wants to cop to it, to be quite honest. Now they're throwing it back at each other. Newsom knows exactly what that permit was for. Not 1 second. Do not believe that he did not know we have applied, that it was approved and what we were doing. There's no way that that would happen. So he's, you know, covering his behind right now. And now they have a statement out that CHP has banned all protests, which they obviously have no power to do. So really permits are just us saying, you know, like Heidi said yesterday, it's a courtesy. We're coming. We can have this nice and neat, or we can have an issue. And it's an issue when there's not a permit, because everybody, you know, goes anywhere they want. And CHP really just likes to have people in their little corners. Well, sorry guys, you are not allowed to ban protest. And we will be back on May 1st at the California Capitol at high noon, because Newsom, we are done. We are opening up California. So I hope you small storefront owners, workers, get back to work, open up your doors. It's time to get the economy rolling, because we cannot go 60 more days like this.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We cannot go 60 more days. And I just think more than ever, I just want to give encouragement to people to step up and be bold and brave right now. I want to give you a firsthand experience of what just happened to me. My phone is ringing off the hook with people who are like, I never got it. I didn't understand what you were doing. Now I do. And I'm going to do everything possible to go be with you at every single event you guys put on. Tell me what to do. I'm in. So it's just kind of fascinating what happens when you keep putting these clamps on. And let's talk too about the fact that there's a lot of talk about people saying, oh, no, they're doing this to push us into martial law, to make civil unrest, and you're just feeding into it and you're going to cause a greater lockdown. That is a total lie from the globalist agenda. That's what they push for, is Antifa and all that garbage crap from there. That is not at all what we push for whatsoever. Maybe I shouldn't have said that person's name or that.
Yeah, no.
Sorry.
Get us flagged.
I'm heated. Anybody that's followed us and what we stand for, we've always demonstrated peaceful, nonviolent, civil disobedience. And the American people, we are trustworthy. We know exactly how to exercise our constitutional rights to stand together peaceably and assemble. And more people are catching on day by day. So don't ever think that you need to be silent and hiding in a corner.
Yeah, don't falter.
Yeah,
these are attempts to scare us to stop, and it's just not going to happen. Tara?
Yep, we have our First Amendment right to assemble. And these emergency orders were, again, like we've been saying, it's proven out now that the state didn't even have a compelling interest to do what they have done. And they have gone far beyond the narrow scope of application and way beyond any timeline that you would do for an emergency order in a just manner. And so they literally, it's not founded. They do not have the constitutional right to keep doing these emergency orders and extend them the way they are. And honestly, everyone who's framing these protests, shame on you, framing them in a way to be divisive and to mislead, because what they are American people out there of all ages, genders, age, demographics that there are. And they are saying, open up this state. This is not warranted. We have constitutional rights. You have crashed the economy. We can balance the risks. We can handle this in a different way, and that we're done. We're not going to let you make those decisions without our input. And our input says it's time.
It does. And I love, we are getting a comment right now that just said, love it. Stand up, people. Make it happen. Stop feeding into the fear. That's exactly what they want you to do, is to be paralyzed by the fear. So this is a really important message that we have to get out, and we're only getting it out by using our mouths to talk to one another and stand in love. In fact, I'm a little frazzled because I'm coming into this live late because I ran to go get food, take out food. And you know what? A stranger, he stopped me and he said, hey, can you give me, some directions on what to get at the store? I'm new to town. And I was like, yes, oh my gosh, human contact. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to have a conversation. Thank you for being human and not being afraid to talk to me, because I'm not wearing a face mask and he wasn't wearing a face mask either. I'm in the land of mandatory face masks right now. So it was great. People, it's resonating. Let's keep standing in that love for our fellow human being. It's going to draw amazing people to you.
Yeah, people are kind of fed up, I've noticed in my town, more people are out and about now. More people, there's more cars on the road. I saw some families at the park. Like, this is how we reopen California. We don't need Governor Newsom to tell us, okay, you guys can, go outside and stand 6 feet apart. We as humans, as Americans, we can open up California by going to a park with your friends, going to have something to eat, opening up your small storefront. We have given Newsom enough time to figure out how we're going to do this. And this has went way over the time, and he keeps moving back the goalpost. Can we really sustain 60 more days? I mean, the suicide rate is going up, the rate of people not able to feed their families, the cars at the food pantry line. I mean, I saw an article recently that's saying famine is it's going to happen here if we continue on this. We cannot sustain ourselves. We need to open up California and the United States. So any cool articles did you come across, Tara?
Yeah, but also just the people, no one can go much further economically. Everybody, like we talked about from day one, the vulnerable have no margins, and most people have very little margin. And we are already at the edge of that. Businesses are failing. People are losing their homes or their rentals. They're scrapping to make ends meet. It is just uncalled for, especially now as we've seen the original modeling was faulty, that when you actually use therapeutics, that the recovery rate is astronomical, that the infection rate's huge, the death rate's low especially when you use real therapeutics at the early stage. And so, I don't know, there's the pushback that happened yesterday in the last few days in California from various counties. And the Republican caucus, the Republican, Senate and Assembly caucus, saying, hey, open up, ease up sooner, Newsom. You've got to like start, moving forward and bringing these economies and these communities back to life. And Newsom was on the news last night. They showed it on the late night news. It was from his interview in the day. And he was not having any of it. And he was showing himself to be, frankly pissed. And I think that the Californians and American people that see that are not going to take very kindly to him not listening to or looking for a reasonable path forward on this and staying to his strict orders. I think that's going to open a lot of people's eyes on this.
I hope so.
Yes, absolutely. We're getting some comments. I'm kind of paying attention to the comments right now. And some people are saying it's better that we wear the mask to not give the media fuel for their fodder. I think these people didn't watch that on Monday. We caught the media red-handed. Those masks are pure props. It is freaking propaganda. The media themselves do not wear the masks, guys. They wear it for the camera. Nope. Oh yes, they make sure and wear it for the camera. But the minute those cameras come off, those masks come off, and they are shoulder to shoulder walking right next to each other. So, I mean, it's everybody's prerogative. This is a free country. If you feel that you need to wear a mask, so be it. Mm-hmm. But if you're doing it because of fear that the media is going to snap pictures and take it out to us, then I would encourage you to start following the media around so you can see for yourself that it is a prop. It is sheerly a prop. It is not being used accurately or correctly. In addition, remember we had the Kern County doctors come out yesterday saying that they refuse to wear a mask as well because it is so detrimental to your immune system. So don't buy into the propaganda of this mask. You need to do your own research with your own health considerations to take into account, but to make blanketed statements that everybody needs to wear a mask, that you're buying the Kool-Aid that the media is churning out for you.
And this is where the local PD, the local PD needs to be real careful on how they're enforcing these, mandatory masks, because I see people who message me all the time. I got stopped for not wearing a mask in public. This is not a law. So, I'm excited to see how this is going to turn out in court and how this is going to turn out with local PD. I mean, that's going to be a big cross.
Like Heidi said, if you didn't watch our live yesterday or the day before, listen to what we talk about and what we witnessed with the media, how they wore the masks during the interviews, shamed people for not wearing the masks, and then took them off and were standing right next to each other amongst other people without masks on, clearly not having a problem. And when we pointed it out, they treated us very unkindly, snarky, really. And how about the pastor in Louisiana, Pastor Snell, who was just arrested? And by the way, before we get into his arrest, did you notice that of the 6 or 7 people there, the 2 people, there was 3 with a mask, but the 2 that had the masks on were the 2 holding his arms on either side of him, like a prop.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I noticed that.
So he looked like a criminal, recklessly, getting people sick because he didn't have a mask on, and the 2, law enforcement agents on his side had their masks.
It's all staged. I just want to speak one more time about how it's staged. Again, I was there with my kids, with the fake news, ABC 10 News. We had our signs. We were social distancing. We were probably 7 or 8 feet away from them, or 10 feet away. They asked us to back up even further because they said on the camera, it looks like you're closer. So guys, you have to understand the world is a stage and you are falling right into it. And I physically witnessed it firsthand with my children. So there you have it.
We're in the Truman Show.
Me too.
And Tara was there too. Yes, we had multiple witnesses. Tara was there. There was a few other families. Yep. Lauren was there. Carol was there. We had multiple witnesses. And Jeremy.
And with 2 incidences with 2 separate medias, with media firms within half an hour.
Mm-hmm. Well, did you guys see that video in Virginia?
The fear.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tara, you were cutting out. That you were done. Go ahead.
Well, they're selling the fear. And before we want to talk about the pastor, but we should also talk about the mayor down in Mayor Rex.
That was a pretty bold statement he made.
selling the fear does, right?
Yeah,
Do you have his statement?
he put a threat in writing. I should find it, shouldn't I?
Yeah, let's read it off.
Yeah.
Let's find it. While we're talking, though, while I'm looking for it, I do want to say about the Louisiana pastor, something I noticed about him. He was carrying his Bible till the very last second. That was the very last thing as they clicked the cuffs on. That was powerful. And I hope people notice that. That was not a prop. That pastor knew exactly what he was doing there. And I want people to go back and watch that video over and over again. There's
where I hope
present agenda.
Yeah, I hope the churches start getting enraged on what's happening, just how the mothers got enraged with what happened to that mother in Idaho, and how we're enraged on what happened to our friend Naomi in Southern California. I mean, this is how the people are going to rise up, because it doesn't affect just one movement or one demographic. This
Correct.
is everybody. This is, if you want to go outside, you are a criminal. If you want to go outside without a mask because you're not sick, and apparently you can't be trusted as an adult, as a human, to do the right thing and stay home when sick, you are a criminal. You are shamed. And, people want to call CPS on mothers now for having their children outside without a mask. This is a waste of taxpayer money to even investigate something like that.
So I have the quote. Here's the quote. This is the mayor of the city of Lancaster, California, that's in Southern California, who also happens to be a lawyer. So you would think he would know better about putting threats in writing, but these tyrants, they are running unchecked. So they start running their mouths in writing, which is not smart. He said yesterday, we were notified a group is planning a similar protest in Lancaster. Make no mistake, people who deliberately violate the social distancing laws and the laws requiring that we all wear a mask will be identified, arrested, and prosecuted. Do not mess with us. You will not endanger the lives of our hardworking families because of some misguided civil liberties argument. The quote, it gets better. The threat continues. The quote is, give me liberty or give me death. Being arrested and locked up in an overcrowded jail just might result in granting your wish.
Wait, weren't they releasing criminals?
Let's throw all those child molesters and abusers out of jail so we can throw Americans who are standing up to protect the Constitution against unlawful emergency orders into jail with them and wish them on them death. That is so bullshit. I mean, he put that in writing, and like Denise, you put up the post for like people to send in to AG Barr to send in their complaints on that.
Yes, so this is overreaching. I mean, not even overreaching. This is tyrannical to even have a elected representative talk to their people like this. I hope people of Lancaster challenge him.
So I have to say, though, I have gotten they filed with AG Barr, and I do have to tell you that they got notices right away back saying that it's not his jurisdiction. So this is where the rubber is really going to start meeting the road. And so complaints are going to have to filed with our state attorney general, who everybody knows what side he is. He's with Bill Gates and the globalist agenda. We know that. But if you want to keep doing the due diligence to create your paper case, because you are going to have a case in the courtroom for sure, class action, I guarantee it, if they want to come together with that for sure. So I'm sure we're going to be working together to make sure that we continue to keep that moving in the right direction. But when local mayors put threats in writing, no.
So maybe this is the good segue for what we just found out about right before we got on here, that 10 states face bills that would criminalize peaceful protest and make it a serious crime to assemble in groups and express political dissent. The 10 states are Colorado, Indiana, Iowa, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, North Carolina, North Dakota, Virginia, and Washington. We'll put this on the link. It says urgent threat to free speech and patriotic dissent. For example, in Washington, protesters who authorities deemed, quote, disruptive could be charged with, quote, economic terrorism. In Michigan, wearing a hood at a protest could be considered criminal identity concealment. What about a mask?
Exactly.
I mean, so
exactly. And can we please charge Newsom with that criminal offense of, the economy? Please?
Economic terrorism?
Yes.
Yeah,
he's a
economic terrorism.
He is a domestic terrorist, and he needs to be prosecuted for treason.
Absolutely. And don't forget all the deaths of the people that are happening alone without their loved ones. I mean, just separate from even COVID deaths. The COVID deaths are all happening isolated and alone. And then so are every other type of death that's occurring since the days of the lockdown. We should look at the numbers on that, because that's what I want to look up. If anyone has those numbers, how many people have died, I don't care of what, since the lockdown in the country began, because every one of those people has died isolated. Maybe a few from a random circumstance didn't, but pretty much everyone else did, whether they be in a nursing home or a hospital, without their loved ones, for not any reason. They should have had a pathway to have people with them.
The always agenda has been break up the family unit. That's the goal, break up the family unit. And they have definitely done that with this, agenda that they're putting out. I mean, for me, I haven't seen my mother in 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. I haven't had that conversation with her. I have to look at her through a window because she's so scared of what is being told to her, that she's going to die. So here we are as a family, her partner, me, my kids, all of us, we go to this window to see her, and she has no other contact with anybody. That is abuse. That is mental abuse, emotional abuse. 100%. And if anything happens to her while she's alone, that's going to enrage me.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I do.
There's so many.
I was going to say, somebody commented that all deaths are COVID deaths. And while we know that it's been exposed, that they're marking it on everything, in some senses, it is actually true that the unintended consequences of this outrageous overstepping, overreaction has caused additional deaths. And it was not the virus that is killing them. So that's a powerful comment that, yes, needs to continue to be driven home.
Mm-hmm. So true. So how about on the good side, like a good note, like the Snohomish, Washington County Sheriff?
Yes, go for it.
That's incredible. We'll link that. So he says he's been watching Washington Governor Inslee and seeing, like, giving him the benefit of the doubt. What's the plan going to be? How are we going to reopen our economy? And he's been looking, interfacing with his own community, like what's going on. And he said after the governor's state address on the plan moving forward yesterday, I believe, he said, that's it, I'm putting my letter out. And his letter goes into great detail, showing honestly the hypocritical and unjust classification that the governor has on essential and non-essential. He does a really good job explaining, like, oh, you can do construction if you're paid doing a government property job, but not if it's a private. And you can do it at this, but not this. And it really shows how, like, government workers and, avenues are being allowed, but nobody else is. And then he goes in to talk about like a bunch of things, including the collateral damage to the economy, to the people's livelihoods, just what it's doing, people dying alone, just really the devastation that's happening. And then how he says he does not see Governor Inslee's order as constitutional. He says it's unconstitutional. You've gone beyond what emergency powers should be allowed of you. And so he's saying, I think you need to open up. So again, that's like another local hero pushing back and standing up. And that's what we need to keep sharing far and wide, to show what models of leadership and integrity look like, and for how to move the path forward, that it's in our hands. We're going to have to push back because we know that we're fighting the tyrants on this, and we can see they don't want to give. You just saw Newsom. He just extended 30, 60 days. He doesn't want to give. He's pissed at the Republicans in every county that's reaching out to him, asking for like common sense measures. If that doesn't tell you it's political, then, you know, he's there saying, oh, we're not going to make it political. That's such bullshit. He's made it political, and everyone doing what he's done has made it political. And his 6 points that need to be achieved before we move forward, we're not accepting those terms. We're not going to have COVID ADA for the sizing, you know, our floor plans of our businesses and schools, and we're not going to have mandatory tracking and testing, and we're not going to let you put the control structures in place at the county level up to the state so that you can do this to us at your whim at any time, easing it on and off. No, not going to happen.
Absolutely. I loved his quote going back to Sheriff, the Snohomish County Sheriff in Washington. This quote I love. If this coronavirus is so lethal and we have shut down our roaring economy to save lives, then it should be all or nothing. The government should not be picking winners or losers when it comes to being able to make an income for your family. That is the very foundation of what our nation was built on. Anything in direct defiance of that, I'm sorry, it's communism, straight out, sorry. We're gonna go right there. People get so worked up when you use the word Nazi or communism or Marxist. Why? Why do they get so worked up? You know why? Because it comes from a satanic agenda, and that's why it's pushing on people's buttons, and it should, rightfully so, because it comes straight from the pit of hell. And so we're going to sit here and call it out like it is. I'm not mincing words. There's too little time left. So sorry, I'm fired up.
Yeah, well, you that's the appropriate human emotion for this situation. Be fired up. And mic drop for that Snohomish County Sheriff. Amazing.
Is incredible.
Yeah, so, you know, I'm hoping my sheriff actually says something. Like I said, I'm in San Joaquin County. They've been real kind of quiet with what, you know, what their process. They said they're on the education part, but at this point, we need our officers, our sheriffs. We need you guys to start stepping out, because most know that this is wrong, and it's incredibly wrong to go and arrest mothers or threaten to arrest mothers or fathers, people, humans, for being outside. I mean, and this is right. This is the definition of communism. So they give us $1,200 to shut up. You know, okay, you're getting your money. You have nothing to say. $1,200 in California does absolutely nothing. It does absolutely nothing when most people's rents are between $1,500 to $2,000 in the Central Valley alone. Oh yeah, in your area, Bay Area, you're looking at $3,000. You know,
that would be for a 1-bedroom studio to get a $3,000
don't
apartment
worry.
in the Bay Area. Are you kidding
Lady,
me?
I was reading what they're putting in federal government, looking at all the different things to do, put in by Democrats, mind you, and they're gonna don't worry, they're gonna give you big checks. 2, 4,000, 5,000 per family, and it's such bullshit. We don't want your common money.
Want it.
That's
I don't want it.
We don't want that damn money. We want to work, and just that's bullshit. Just complete. And look who's pushing that. Oh, here, let's give you $4,000 or $5,000 for family so that you can stay home. Take that crap and just shove it. We do not want that. We want our jobs back. We want our life back, and we're going to take it back.
You know, they deem essential workers fast food workers, Walmart workers, workers that get paid minimum wage, while, you know, our real jobs, they're not minimum wage. I mean, like I said, California is really expensive. So you have to be able to make a decent amount of money just to live okay. You know, we live okay. We're not starving. So that's okay with me. But why should these people who make $40 an hour, whatever they make, have to go work at Walmart for minimum wage, and then you don't qualify for Medicaid or Medi-Cal? You don't qualify for anything because you have a job that's minimum wage. This is exactly where they have been trying to put us for years, and it is really disheartening and disappointing to see the American people eat it up and then yell at us and wish death upon us because we want to get back to work.
I love it. Someone just put a comment. If most or all of law enforcement stand their ground and tell the POS Newsom to shove it, he can't fire them all. nor can he replace them with all the National Guard. And that is absolutely correct. And that's why, guys, my phone is blowing up with law enforcement families. They're calling to say, how can I get involved? So again, we are not saying any violence or that we don't work with law enforcement or that we don't appreciate law enforcement. It's quite the contrary. They are coming in droves to us right now. So yes, I believe absolutely if they come all together, bye, game over.
Yep. And that's the thing. We have the military, lots of military people are now reaching out to us. What can we do? How can we support this? Police officers, wives of police officers. This is where it's not a movement. It's not about one particular person. It's not about one particular issue. It's people who want to take care of their families. And when you start messing with people's families and their children, especially, and by messing with them, I mean, if you're telling me that we can't go to work and I'm worried how I'm going to feed my children, you bet your ass we are going to come out with guns a-blazing. No way. You are not going to do this to our families. You're not going to do this to our children. And for, like Primo, he is not going to allow the government to put his family into a shelter or into a food pantry and we can never get out of it. This is it. This is calling all families. So please don't get scared to show up to protest. This is your right to protest. Any officers who tell you that you are going to be cited or arrested, you may have to take that citation for a moment, but you bet your ass that we are all going to get together and take this to court. So they should be sure that they're on the right side of history.
Yeah, I think it's really important to also keep reaching out to the community. Like we've seen, it's the Board of Supervisors or Board of County Commissioners who appoint the county public health officer. County public health officer is the one that's in charge of the executive and emergency orders in their counties, enforcing, setting them up. And also, I just think that I think also like about Newsom where he like, go ahead and volunteer, come in everybody and help volunteer at the soup kitchens and hand out food and stuff. No, everyone wants to get back to work. And we all want to be able to get back to work and volunteering, so in the normal way. And yeah, no new normal. But if we can just keep spreading, like let's also link again today that video of the two doctors, the two ER room doctors from Kern County. If we keep spreading that information and like the data that they talk about, including how they bring up that the infection's been here for a long time, that there's millions of infected and that there's very few deaths. And if we keep linking and showing the information about how it's actually treated with therapeutics. And if we point out how the media is using masks as props to shame people and self-fear, then no one will be afraid because everybody is on the side of allowing people to have not only their human and constitutional rights, but to have a livelihood and a life and to be with their loved ones and to navigate this life that way. So if we just break that down and keep talking and showing that to people, then more and more will understand that it's okay and they need to stand together on the same side.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect way to wrap it. We're at 33 minutes. So Denise, you want to take us out?
Yes. So please remember all of our videos go on our YouTube channel, which is under Freedom Angels, and we will link everything onto the body of this post. But please join us tomorrow at 5 o'clock for our Live at 5 every day, Monday through Friday from our Freedom Angels page. You can also find us on Telegram, so please download the application and sign up for our Freedom Angels Foundation subscription so we can send you calls to action. And also remember, May 1st at the California Capitol, Sacramento, California, we'll be there at noon with a convoy and boots on the ground, permit or not. So I will talk to you guys later. Do you guys have anything else to say? Oh,
Sunday?
Yes.
There you go.
I don't have the address.
And then I think, what about tomorrow? Do we want to address tomorrow?
Oh, we should address tomorrow. Tara, address tomorrow quickly, very quickly.
Oh, you go ahead. Sorry, I have something in my eye. Hang on.
I don't have any details for who's going to be there tomorrow, so I don't.
So I know that there are some protests going on tomorrow. Just check the groups. We support anybody going out and exercising their First Amendment right peaceably anywhere in the state. So yes, go out and do it. Initially, Freedom Angels, we had said that we were going to be leading one tomorrow. That was before the whole San Diego thing came up with Naomi and the criminal charges that she's facing. And so because of that, Freedom Angels is directing all of their support and resources down to San Diego. That is this Sunday at 1 o'clock, meeting at Pacific Beach. Let me see, should I give the address here?
Yeah, you can.
Sorry, keep talking while I look for the address.
So we're going to go stand shoulder to shoulder with our friends down in Southern California. We really need all hands on deck, and we need the people to show up to support Naomi. What's happening is we are all Naomi, really. You know, they can single out any one of us, and they are trying to make an example out of her. We're not going to let that happen, at least by herself. So please show up on Sunday, and Heidi has the address to give you.
So the address is 4400 Oceanfront Walk. Again, that's 4400 Oceanfront Walk in San Diego. That's Pacific Beach. Parking is going to be tricky, so carpool, if you use public transportation, you know, whatever it is, to get there. And we're asking people to wear white in solidarity with Naomi.
All right. So thanks, everybody, for listening. Please catch us tomorrow at 5 o'clock live. Bye.
Bye.